Welcome to the debate. We are immediately confronting what is probably the highest stakes issue facing the Los Angeles Lakers right now. How do you maximize this extremely narrow championship window? A window that's built around, the final elite years of LeBron James and the absolute prime of Luka Doncic. This isn't about small improvements. It's about finding and, frankly, eliminating a fatal systemic flaw in the roster.
And the diagnosis of that flaw comes from NBA analytics mastermind Tom Haberstroh. His recent report, and it was a searing report, delivered a judgment that has really shaken the foundation of the team's current setup. He basically said, the Lakers, as they are right now, simply cannot win a championship with Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James sharing the floor. The numbers he's suggesting just forbid it.
Which brings us to the central and, I think, very uncomfortable question we have to dissect today. Does the statistical mandate, the brutal empirical evidence, demand they trade away Austin Reeves? I mean, this is a core offensive asset, a high IQ playmaker, and a tremendously homegrown success story. But the rumored targets, Trey Murphy III and Herbert Jones, they represent a structural change this team seems to desperately need.
And I'll be arguing that while we absolutely have to treat those analytical concerns with the utmost seriousness, the cost, the inherent risk, and the profound cultural disruption of moving a beloved established player like Reeves, well, it just outweighs the gains you get from this specific forced trade. The mathematical critique is sound, but its solution, I think, risks fracturing the team's whole identity.
And I am going to argue for the necessary ruthlessness that's required to pursue a championship. Maximizing this specific, fleeting window demands that the front office prioritizes structural roster balance above everything else, following the cold, hard evidence wherever it leads. This is a pro-trade position, one that's dictated by a mathematical necessity and the understanding that this trio together creates a defensive anchor that you just can't carry in the playoffs.
That sounds purely mathematical, and I think we need to inject the reality of, human capital and stability into that equation.
And of Reeves' talent. It's an indictment of his specific skill set when you combine it with two generational stars. Haberstroh's core evidence is, it's difficult, if not impossible, to look past. In nearly 700 minutes, and we are talking about over 1,400 possessions with Doncic, Reeves, and LeBron sharing the court since Doncic arrived, the Lakers have been outscored by 31 points. Now, a negative net rating like that isn't just bad luck. It's a systemic, demonstrated failure for this specific trio to generate positive outcomes.
That deficit is severe. I agree.
It is catastrophic. And the report identifies exactly why. The deficiency is mobility. When you look at the raw data for ground covered, the distance players travel, the speed at which they close out, this trio ranks among the slowest defensive units in the entire NBA. That lack of recovery speed, that lack of positional length, is the reason they actively hemorrhage points. Playoff opponents are not charitable. They will relentlessly hunt that mismatch, forcing Reeves or whoever is defending the opposing wing into a high-speed chase every single time down the court. The defense is constantly starting in a scramble, stretched to the breaking point. The proposed trade, Reeves, Vincent Kleber, plus the top 4 protected 2031 first-round pick for Trey Murphy III and Herbert Jones, it instantly addresses this. It gives them 2 long athletes, both over 6'7", who possess elite perimeter defense. Jones is a former all-defensive first-team selection for a reason.
This level of length and versatility is a non-negotiable prerequisite for a title contender.
I appreciate the clarity of the math, I do. But the weakness in that position is ignoring the existing value hierarchy. While yes, 700 minutes is a substantial sample size, we do need to contextualize when those minutes occurred. Did they happen early in the season when defensive schemes were still gelling? Was there overlap with injuries to key defensive anchors? To treat that minus 31 net rating as purely attributable to Reeves' defensive slowness, it ignores the fact that Reeves is a beloved homegrown success story, a high IQ guard who has proven he excels under playoff pressure. His value isn't just his offense, it's his established chemistry and his contract status.
But that chemistry comes at a cost that the numbers clearly quantify. The argument that you're trading away established value for a theoretical upgrade ignores the fact that the upgrade is essential for survival. You talk about established chemistry, but that chemistry is facilitating a defense that is constantly starting behind the play.
I'm not denying the defensive struggles, but let's consider what we sacrifice offensively. You gain Jones, who is a phenomenal perimeter stopper, and Murphy, who is an elite high-efficiency three-point shooter. But Austin Reeves is a proven clutch performer, a fantastic secondary playmaker, and someone who consistently dictates tempo and makes the right decision in the fourth quarter. If you execute this trade, you immediately destabilize the bench unit. I mean, who is the high IQ ball handler now? Vincent has been largely unavailable. You are swapping one known flaw, slow perimeter defense, for a potential new and debilitating flaw, a distinct lack of playmaking depth and shot creation outside of Doncic and LeBron. That is a massive risk when you're facing elite defenses in the Western Conference Finals.
The problem with relying on Reeves' playmaking is that it is often redundant to what Doncic and James do in the half-court set. Haberstraw's analysis on maximizing Doncic's game is instructive here. The blueprint demands you surround your primary creators with long defenders, rangy athletes, and players who can finish above the rim. Murphy and Jones fit this mold perfectly. Reeves structurally does not.
I disagree with the premise of redundancy. Reeves operates as the release valve, the secondary playmaker who can run the pick and roll effectively when the clock is winding down. He ensures that not every single possession demands a Herculean effort from the two stars.
But this is a move driven by roster engineering for optimal efficiency on both ends of the floor. Murphy's a lethal shooter and an explosive dunker. His shooting gravity opens driving lanes for Doncic and LeBron, and his verticality punishes defenses for collapsing on the stars. When you have two ball-dominant geniuses, you need surrounding elements who demand attention off the ball and who can seamlessly switch defensive assignments. Reeves, for all his intelligence, cannot switch onto a variety of elite wings. Jones and Murphy can. This is about structural alignment, not just talent aggregation. You are optimizing the entire ecosystem to allow the two stars to shine brighter and not have to expend precious energy covering for the defensive limitations of their teammates.
That sounds compelling, but we have to look at the total transactional cost, particularly concerning future assets. We're not just talking about players, we're giving up the 2031 top 4 protected pick. That's a highly valuable future asset in an era where teams are, increasingly hesitant to trade first-round capital so far out. We are sacrificing the ability to pivot in 2031, an era where LeBron will be long retired and Doncic potentially nearing the end of his prime, all for an immediate defensive structural fix.
What if this move delivers a championship now? The cost of that 2031 pick is inconsequential. The Lakers are in a win now or face irrelevant situation. The cost of not making the move is far higher. If they fail to win the title because they cannot stop the inevitable mismatch hunting in the Western Conference, then the entire investment in acquiring Doncic and pairing him with James was a failure. You have to maximize the opportunity.
I would frame the risk differently. The Lakers are essentially trading a known entity, a player who is financially manageable and deeply established in the team's culture, at his lowest perceived value. The New Orleans Pelicans, the team receiving Reeves in this scenario, they view him as a high-value piece, a polished, high-IQ guard who they believe can grow alongside their younger pieces. If the acquiring team views Reeves as the ideal asset to reshape their core, it raises a serious question. Are the Lakers reacting hysterically to a statistically high-profile critique and selling an asset at a loss? We risk future regret if we move a valuable asset just because a statistical snapshot, while large,